no yeast, no baking powder, no cream of tartar, flatbread recipes. 100 grams worth of plain flour and or wholemeal flour, finely grinded salt, 50 to 60 milliliters worth of water, only a little bit at a time during the dough making process. We are only going to use 80 grams of the 100 grams used per batch. The reason for us to not use the 100 grams right away is we can actually reserve the 20 grams amount so that we can use this only in pinches amount as collateral to ensure that the dough remains stable during the later steps, to ensure that we are not using any more flours than what is deemed necessary. We're only going to use 80 grams of the dry white flour. Sprinkle in the salt, the water. There are several things to keep in mind when it comes to making a successful and stable dough. Number 1, only mix in small amounts of water at a time. 2, do not use your hands during the dough making process. Use a spatula, any flexible mixing apparatus. If things seem to be fragmented away from each other, then that is a sign a little bit of more water is required. Throughout these initial processes, we must not use our hands. Continue working and mixing the dough until we've reached a stable form. We may not use our hands to assess and to examine how dry and how sticky it is. The less sticky it is, then we can proceed to the next step. If not, pinch in only a little bit of flour and continue mixing and stabilizing the dough. On our bench, 2 or 4 grams, swirl it around. Time for the rolling pin. So, if it is too sticky on the rolling pin, then this is where we need a little bit of extra flour. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. If nothing sticks, then we are good to go. This equates up to anywhere between 45 to 52 grams worth of flour being used, so that's one small serve. And for those readers and viewers who doesn't have a dedicated rolling pin, what they can use instead is a water bottle. Fill it up with water and use it as a rolling pin alternative. We're going to prepare our pan by sprinkling it with a bit of water and then preheat this by preheating it with a medium heat. We will know when it's ready when the water has fully evaporated. We may cook the dough. Cook only one portion at a time. Each slice or each portion will take between 30 to 45 seconds. Once up to 40 seconds have elapsed, we're going to flip it over and repeat. And that, congratulations, our simple, no yeast, no frills, flatbread recipe. There is as much science as there is discipline when it comes to learning how to make a bread. One thing needs to be kept in mind: do not use a lot of water. We all need just practice and time. The resulting finish should be such that it should be pliable, yet the stability remains intact. This is the result that we are looking for. And together, the following main workarounds that we can use as troubleshooting to help stabilize the dough together further. 1. Use extra ingredients. Source of fat, another type of flour, or mixing in with a little bit of binding agents. First, the type of fats. We can use any type of fats in our inventory. A little bit goes a long way when it comes to helps binding things together. However, keeping in mind, the more unsaturated or the more polyunsaturated it is, especially that as cheap vegetable oils, the more likely we need to supplement ourselves with vitamin E over time to offset our risks against excessive lipid peroxidation damage. Next, we can use another type of flour. This type of flour shown here is jowar, or is known as sorghum flour. Sorghum flour is very grainy although very difficult to mix on its own to make a flatbread on its own, given from this author's experience. However, when mixed with plain flour, it may help with the binding process. Next, other binding agents. We can use either psyllium husk, xanthan gums, or guar gums. All these help as binding agents. However, beware that we're only going to use very small quantities, especially the xanthans and the guar gums. For psyllium husk, perhaps only 1.5 teaspoons is enough to make and stabilize one batch at a time. Another main workaround troubleshooting is that we can simply prepare the dough and we can store it in the fridge. For as long as the surrounding temperature within the fridge is dry, standing time in the fridge should help with the settling and the stabilizing process to roll the dough much easier without any excess stickiness in the process. So there you go. No frills, no yeast, basic bread recipe with as little as 3 ingredients required.